Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and very good morning to everyone. My name is Ahmad Fahmi bin Muhammad Ali from Faculty of Hospitality, Tourism and Wellness, University of Malaysia, Kelantan. So it is my pleasure to present our research titled Empowering Indigenous Women Through Community-Based Tourism, which is the case of Bario, Sarawak. For information, this study was conducted together with my colleague, Professor Dr. Wan Ahmad Amizal, Dr. Wan Abdul Aziz, Mr. Wan Azli bin Wan Abdullah, and Mr. Hafizi Mak Saleh as a part of a research project funded by Ministry of Higher Education under Fundamental Research Grant Scheme for Early Career Research. Okay, the contents for this presentation is basically on background, research objective, methodology, and findings of the study, which is include economic empowerment, cultural society empowerment, and digital inclusions of the study. And after that, we'll have some discussion and conclusion and implication based on the result of the study. Okay, first is the background of the Bario himself. Okay, Bario is often called the land of wind, which is a beautiful and remote highland located in Sarawak, in Malaysia, Borneo. It is home to the Klabit people and indigenous community which rich tradition. Despite its remoteness and limited accessibility, it can only be reached by small aircraft or long journey on logging routes. Bario has been able to sustain its tourism activity. Okay, we can see from the slide that this is the only among the accessibility to reach the Bario place. Okay, Bario is located in the Kelabit Highlands of Sarawak, which is here in Sarawak, at about 1,000 meter above the sea level. It is often called the land of the wind because of its cool, breezy climate and very different from the hot lowlands of Borneo. It is a remote community with a population around 1,200 people, mostly from the Kalabi ethnic groups, and one of the smallest indigenous groups in Sarawak. Bario is famous for its high quality Bario rice and pineapples, which are regarded as some of the best in Malaysia. Traditionally, the community live in a longhouse and practice wet rice farming. Accessibility is a challenge. Bario can mostly be reached by a small aircraft from Miri or by a long and difficult road journey. This isolation, however, has helped the community preserve its culture and its identity. And today, Bario has become a model for community-driven tourism where local people, especially women, host homestays, prepare traditional foods, and showcase their culture to visitors. Understanding this unique context is important because it shows how tourism can thrive even in remote, marginalized area. So our focus today is to understand how community-based tourism or CBT has empowered indigenous women in Bario and what lesson we can learn from other rural and indigenous communities. Okay, for the objective community, first we have to understand what is community-based tourism or CBT. CBT or community-based tourism has been recognized worldwide as a tool for sustainable development. Unlike mass tourism, CBT emphasizes community ownership, participation, and culture preservation. It is not just about generating income, but also about ensuring that tourists benefit local people and strengthen their identity. However, this CBT is not without challenge. Uh, in many cases, project fail due to lack of infrastructure, weak institution support, or the risk of local commodity. In Bario, however, the situation is different. The community has shown remarkable Resilience, partly due to incentive like Bario, which introduced digital connectivity to this remote area. This has enabled local entrepreneurs, particularly women, to market their service, share their culture, heritage, and connect with visitors worldwide. Our study therefore sees Bario as an important case study that demonstrates how tourism can be inclusive and sustainable and community driven. Okay, for objective, this study was guided by three interconnected objectives, each focusing on different but complementary dimensions of community-based tourism in Bario. The first objective was to explore how grassroots participation, the young children, or the young generation, sustain CBT in Bario, and what makes the CBT distinct from conventional tourism is that it is driven by the community itself. In Bario, this means that family, local leaders, and especially women are not passive beneficiaries, but active designers and implementators of tourist activity. Okay, we wanted to understand how this sense of ownership and bottom-up participation contribute to sustainability in the long run. Okay, that is for the first research objective. The second objective is to examine the role of digital infrastructure. Connectivity has always been a challenge in remote area such as Bario because of its geographical isolation. But the introduction of Bario initiative by the University Malaysia Sarawak brought the internet access to this remote community. This opened up opportunities for local entrepreneurs to market homestays, handicraft, and cultural experience directly to the visitors. At the same time, it created new challenges around digital literacy and inclusivity. So we wanted to study how digital tools reshape the governance, entrepreneurship, and knowledge sharing in tourism. And for the final objective, the third objective was to assess the social, economic, and cultural outcomes of the CBT. What benefit that CBT gives, focusing particularly on indigenous women. In many indigenous society, women's contribute are often undervalued or invisible in Bario. However, women are centered to tourism through homestay, cooking, handicraft, and storytelling. We wanted to document how this role empower women economically, enhance their visibility in community leadership, and how preserve cultural tradition. When viewed together, these three objectives, grassroots participation in digital inclusion and women empowerment, allow us to understand disability not only as an economic activity but as a holistic model of sustainable development in a remote indigenous community. Okay, how do we do this study to address this objective that we addressed previously? We adopt a qualitative case study. This approach was suitable because our goals was not just to measure outcome, but to deeply understand lived experience, social dynamics, and cultural meanings in Bario. Our data collection activity integrate three main methods. First is semi-structured interviews, which conducted both in Bahasa Melayu and English to ensure the cultural sensitivity and inclusivity, which this allow us to capture women's voice in their own words, focusing on their experience with tourism, empowerment, and challenges. Second, participant and non-participant observation. We go to the market, we interview some people, we immerse ourselves in daily activities. For example, staying in a homestay gives us insight into women's invisible labor, welcoming guests, cooking, cleaning, organizing culture event. Okay, and next is narrative analysis, which have help us interpret personal stories, cultural metaphors, and collective memories that shape how tourism is experienced in the community. For sampling, we use progressive and snowball strategy to identify women directly engaged in CBT, which consists the homestay operators, food product producers, handicraft makers, and cultural guides. This technique help us assess both formal entrepreneur and those who contribute are often informal but vital. Okay, to ensure a rich rank, we follow Lincoln and Guba's trustworthy framework, which is triangulation data resources, using member checking to validate interpretations, and providing text description of the cultural setting. Finally, we follow strict ethical protocols because it is important in any human study. Informed consent was obtained. Participants were anonymized using services, and confidentiality was respected throughout. Overall, this methodology ensured that the women of Bario were just not research subject, but active participants whose voice and perspective guided through the study. Okay, next, this is what we have highlight or we found out throughout our observation or throughout our interview or the outcome of the study. First, we found out that the key findings of the CBT to Indigenous women are the economic empowerment. Okay, through the economic empowerment is one of the clearest impact of community-based tourism in Bario is economic empowerment for women. Women have become central economic actors in tourism. Many run homestays, welcoming guests into their homes and providing accommodation that blends hospitality with cultural immersions. This gives them a direct role in the tourism economy, something that was not common in the past. They also contribute through food production. For example, making pineapple jam, preparing smoked meat, and selling traditional Kalabit rice dishes. These products are not only a source of pride but also a key part of the visitor experience. In addition, women produce handicraft, especially bed work and weaving, which are sold to tourists. These crafts are deeply symbolic of Kalabit identity and their sale bring extra income to the family. This is important. Okay, next importantly, economic empower is not just limited. Is not limited to small scale activity. Many women are now taking leadership role. They are now the leadership in cooperative and tourism committees. These participants in decision making marks a significant step forward as a women are traditionally disparate, dis, underrepresented in community governance. Uh, However, challenges remain. Women face limited access to capital, meaning that expanding or upgrading their business is often difficult. Many because of what? Because of many lack of formal hospitality training. So they rely on informal learning. Market access is also challenging since barriers remoteness restrict uh, that ability to sell product beyond the local community or visiting tourists. In short, CBT in Bario has opened up new economic opportunities, giving women greater agency and stronger voice in their household and community. But for this empowerment to be sustained, structural barriers like access to finance and training must be addressed by the government or by the local parties. Okay. Uh, Second is key finding of the study is how CBT empowered the Indigenous woman through cultural and social empowerment. Okay, beyond economic, CBT has also brought about culture and social empowerment for women in Bario. Uh, Women act as a cultural custodians and intermediates. They play leading roles in festivals such as Pesta Nukanen, which they prepare traditional foods, perform dances, and showcase their craft. Uh, this event not only generate income but also reaffirm the Kalabit identity and allow women to present their culture with pride through homestays and guided cultural tourists. Women share stories, traditions, and ecological knowledge with visitors. They become the bridge between the communities and the outsiders. Interpreters of culture who ensure that the club heritage is not preserved but actively communicated to the world. This visibility also enhanced their social status and leadership role. In the past, women contributions were largely confined to the household, but today they are increasingly involved in cooperative tourism community, and also the important thing is they are now the decision making uh, of the family. The shift strengthens gender equality and reshape traditional gender roles. Another key impact is the strengthening of intergenerational bonds. Women involve younger family members in festival, handicraft, and storytelling. This ensure that traditions are passed to the next generation while also giving uh, young people a sense of pride and belonging. However, there are important challenges. One is the risk of cultural commodification, where traditions perform mainly for tourism rather than live authentically. Okay. Another is the danger of elite dominance, where only a few individuals benefit from leadership role, potentially sidelining the wider community. Overall, CBT in Bario does more than provide income. It has given women a stronger role as a cultural leaders, strengthen social cohesions, and help ensure that traditional are carried forward while also highlight the needs for inclusive and sensitive cultural management. Okay, next findings is the digital inclusions. Okay, another important finding in the study is that the role of digital inclusion, which is the eBario initiative launched in the early 20s, introduced the internet connectivity to the remote highland. For a place that was once almost completely cut off from the outside world, this was transformative. Through the eBario platform, women could now market their homestay, promote their handicraft, and share their local stories and traditions with global audience. Now, for example, homestay operators began using email and social media to reach potential guests, while craft women could showcase their product online, expanding beyond the small pools of visitors who physically travel to Barrio. Digital tools also enhance knowledge sharing. Okay, women also use connectivity not just for tourist their market, but also to learn and to upgrade the skill about hospitality, food processing technique, and even environmental conservation practice from outside source. At the same time, infrastructure improvement. This is what important, such as solar energy, upgrading community halls, and a better road community connectivity have reduced daily burdens and made tourist operators smoother. However, digital inclusion is not equal for everyone. Many older women are those with limited literacy, feel excluded from the digital platform. They may rely on younger family members to handle online communication, which can sometimes disempower them. This shows that while digital tools are powerful, without inclusion, digital literacy training, there is creating form inequality. In summary, digital inclusion has given women in Peru a new economic opportunities, cultural visibility, and education resources. But to make it truly empowerment, program must address the digital divide and ensure that no group, especially the older and less literacy women, is left behind. Okay, for the discussion, okay, when we bring this finding together, a key theme emerged. Community-based tourism in Baru is both transformative and challenging. On the positive side, CBT have proven to be a powerful tools for women empowerment. It has given women economic interdependence through homestay for production and also their handicraft product. It has strengthened their leadership roles in community decision making, and it has positioned them as a cultural constitution which safeguard and share the clubbing identity. CBT is also built organization capacity. Tourist community committees and cooperative allow for more inclusive governance, where women have a seat at the table. This contributes to a stronger social cohesion and more equitable community development. However, uh, empowerment is not automatic. It requires gender-sensitive planning and ongoing capacity building effort. Without target support, women face structural barriers such as limited access to financial capital, lack of formal hospitality training, and even digital literacy. Another tension lies in balancing economic benefits with cultural and environmental sustainability. While festival handicraft and ecotourism generate income, there is always a risk of over commercializing culture and overburdening fragile ecosystem. So the discussion here is not only simply about whether CBT works, but how it works and under what condition it can be sustained. For Bario, for this study, the lesson is that CBT can be indeed empowerment and strengthen their communities, but only if planning remain inclusive, training continuous, and environmental integrity carefully safeguarded. Okay, okay. For the conclusion, the case or the study demonstrated the transformative uh, potential of CBT. For women, CBT have provided economic empowerment by diversify their income through homestay, food, and craft. It has fostered social empowerment by increasing their ability, leadership, and also they have a power to make a decision in their community. And it has supported cultural empowerment by reaffirming traditional traditions, strengthening intergenerational bonds, and allowing women to serve as a culture custodians. But empowerment is not guaranteed. The success of CBT in Bario depend on several critical factors, which is inclusive planning, ongoing capacity building, and digital literacy and equitable access to resources. From a more broader perspective, Bario offers a scalable model which shows even small remote communities with limited infrastructure can create sustainable inclusive tourism when ownership is retained at the grassroots level. For policymakers, this means designing gender-sensitive and cultural-grounded theory strategy that empower local actors rather than displace them. For NGOs and academic institutions, it means supporting training, digital literacy, and enterprises. Ultimately, the Bario case reminds us that the tourist is not just an industry, it's a social force, which, when done inclusively, it can empower marginalized groups, preserving culture, and contribute to sustainable rural development. Okay, thank you. That's all from me. Uh, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.